Hello, this is Tom with the Tractor Rescue Ranch. This is kind of comical if it works out this way. I was watching the last video that I had produced where I had the camera down here and watching it tie knots slowly, and I discovered something. It's amazing that I can even learn from my videos. From watching those knots, you look at the part that is out on the back side of that knot, on this side that's tying correctly, and then look at this knot on the side that isn't tying correctly, and there's nothing left on the outside of the knot, so it's not pulling tight. So this is the side that I retied there in the machine, but I don't think you'll be able to see it from here. But I tied a knot right before I shut it down here, and I can feel down in there on those knots on this one up here too, that the correct side has that pigtail coming out there and the non-correct side doesn't. And so from watching that video, I got to thinking, well, I wonder if that knife is close enough, and this is probably something else I'm not going to be able to get the camera in here to see, but I can see this is the knife right there, and that knife is about, well, I got a tape measure in there and stuck it down in there, and it's about 1/4 inch away from those. And then on this other one, looking at it, it only looks like it's less than 1/4 by quite a bit. So this one is closer to the knot than this one is. And so maybe if I get lucky, maybe that's my problem of why these knots aren't staying tight, because it's just cutting the pigtails off too close to the knot, and the knot's coming undone. So that's quite easy to fix. If you can see down in here, this piece, I'll just pull that pin out, and that will drop this whole arm here, and the knife, it'll drop, and then there's shims, so I can put more shims on the bottom of this and less on the top, and that will make that knife go farther away from the knot. So we'll give this a try and see what happens. Relatively easy problem to fix. One of the things I was looking at as I was watching one knotter tie and the other one not is the fact that if there's something different in the one that's not tying, what is that, and can we fix that so it's doing the same thing as the other one? So I'll pull this apart and see if we can get it figured out here to get that knife a little bit farther away. So I'm starting to second guess myself on this deal. In order to get to these knotters to work on them like this, there's just this part here swings down and bolts on right there. So if you pull that bolt off, that knotter will just swing up and gives you access to work on it. That's on the left hand side. The right hand side, it's the same thing, and although except you have to also pull this piece off that triggers the knotters to work. So in order to get it out of the way, so this will swing up. But I'm starting to second guess myself. You can see what I was looking at right here. So my finger there, you can see the distance between the knife right here and the discs. And then on this one, it's a lot closer. But now that I've got it up in the air, I think I'm thinking of this thing backwards, because this is where the knot is, and the knife cuts off between the discs and the knot. So the knot would be right here where my finger is there. And so having this closer up here seems to me like it would leave a longer leads on them than shorter leads on them, since the knot would be around here. So gonna do a little bit more work and research here and see if I can't figure out what the difference is. The placement of that knife is definitely a difference, but I think it's the placement here is going the wrong way to do what I'm thinking. Okay, after studying this more, I was thinking that this was the situation that I had, but this troubleshooting situation right here is more like it, a loose knot, worn or damaged bill hook tongue, and the density of the bales. And so I've got this propped up here. Right there is the bill hook tongue, and I don't see any worn or damaged parts in it. These rollers back here that I've got propped up all seem to be the same, but they look pretty much identical. So there's another thing here that I'm considering. This, you can see that spring action. That's what holds that bill hook tongue down. And I got to do a little study here, but it seems to me this one, on the one that's working correctly, is harder to pull than this one. But I can't tell for sure, it just kind of seems that way. So I need to figure out how to tell how much tension to put on these springs. Okay, the book says that bill hook is supposed to be 5 to 15 pounds pulling on the tongue to move it 1/8 inch. And I have tested it here, and now I'm having a hard time here with the camera, holding the camera and doing this, but the long story short, this side that's working is about 15 pounds to pull that tongue open, and this one is about 5. So another thing I noticed, the length of the bolt, you can see the length of the bolt from there to there is longer than it is on this one. So I'm going to tighten this bill hook tongue up on this spring to where it's the 15 like this one is. You can see what I've done here to pull on that tongue. So if I tighten them up so they're both doing the same thing, theoretically that should fix that problem. Okay, I run across something I think might be a major player in this right hand knotter not working correctly. This is the left hand knotter, and as you can see, it is running. It's got a flat spot that runs right here, and this one is tight. It hardly even moves. And then when you move over to this side, so that flat spot on that gear is wore out. And so that's allowing that thing to, that bill hook to be way out of whack as far as where it ends up there. And on this one, it's hard to tell because this thing's been sitting for a long time, but this surface right here, you can see has been rubbed by both this gear, and there's another gear that rubs the inside of it. So on this one, you can see the inside one has been rubbing, but the outside one isn't even coming close to touching. So I'm gonna get that bill hook out and see if I can find a new gear for that. Hopefully I'll be able to find one. If not, I think it's possible to probably weld that surface up, and then I can get my friend Robbie with his milling machine to mill it back down square for me. We'll see how it comes out. You guys are probably tired of me dragging this bell knotter thing out. If I was a professional, I'd probably have this whole thing up, fixed and running with one video, but it's just taken me a long time to figure all of these things out. So to pull that bill hook out, there's a pin that goes through this gear and through the shaft, and so you have to turn things here so that you've got room here on this axis right there. So I've got that propped up right there, and then I've got a punch and just driving that pin out. So there's the pin. So I'm going to hold this thing together here and pull my punch out and get it up here maybe where we can see better, watch it come apart. So I got that bill hook pulled up past this spring-loaded part, and just comes out like that. We got shims here, so gonna leave that shim sitting there. I don't know, can we line that up for you guys to see how wore out this piece is? Right there where my finger is. So after looking at many different things here, I may have something here that's gonna turn out a little bit better if I can find this new gear and get that back together. Hopefully that'll take care of it. This has probably been a long enough video, so I'll probably cut it off right here, and I'll come back with another video as soon as I get some answers here. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.